Our next talk is by Dr. Patel from UCSD, and it's using the VQI to show upper extremity access for complex aortic aneurysm repairs is associated with worse perioperative outcomes.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to present our work. We have no relevant disclosures. Complex aortic aneurysms require a unique repair in order to maintain critical blood flow to mesenteric vessels as well as vital organs. Current technology involves modification or customization of currently available devices with either fenestrations or branches. Deployment of these customized devices is then traditionally with the main body through a transfemoral approach, and then antegrade cannulation through an upper extremity access point for the mesenteric vessels. However, multiple single institution studies have shown that antegrade access from an upper extremity access point has been associated with access site complications as well as stroke compared to a total transfemoral approach. The goal of our study was to use the Vascular Quality Initiative and look at fenestrated and branched EVARs and compare the differences in outcomes between a total transfemoral approach for both main body and retrograde cannulation of mesenteric vessels compared to an upper extremity approach with antegrade upper extremity access. We used the Vascular Quality Initiative from 2014 to 2021. This included 3,146 patients, 74% of which had a total transfemoral approach, and 27% of which had some form of upper extremity access for antegrade cannulation. Our primary outcomes included 30-day stroke, death, MI, and access site complications, and our secondary outcomes included intraoperative variables. In terms of our primary outcomes, we found that patients who had upper extremity access and antegrade cannulation of mesenteric vessels were more likely to have a 30-day stroke, MI, death, as well as an access site complication compared to the group that had a total transfemoral approach. In terms of our intraoperative variables, we also found that patients who had upper extremity access or cannulation were more likely to have a longer operative time compared to the total transfemoral approach, a greater amount of fluoroscopy time, as well as a greater amount of contrast. These same patients from an upper extremity route were more likely to have a higher blood loss and therefore require more transfusions compared to the total transfemoral route. However, between both groups, we didn't find any difference in technical success. On our logistic regression model, we found that the upper extremity group had a two times increased risk of having a perioperative stroke or a perioperative death or MI, and then a threefold increased risk of perioperative stroke. And this maintained even after adjusting for demographic risk factors, size of aneurysm at time of repair, any history of EVAR, and the number of fenestrations. For our multivariate linear regression model, we found that, again, after adjustment, the antegrade cannulation of mesenteric vessels or upper extremity group had a significantly longer operative time, fluoroscopy time, amount of contrast that was used, greater amount of blood loss, and packed red cells that were needed to be transfused. So we decided to do this study in VQI after looking at this at our own single institution. For our study, we had 56 patients, and we found that, again, in our upper extremity group, there was a longer amount of operative time and almost double the amount of time of radiation exposure, and in terms of fluoroscopy time, a 30-minute increase in fluoroscopy time compared to the total transfemoral group. In conclusion, using the Vascular Quality Initiative, we found that patients who had a fenestrated or branched EVAR from an upper extremity access site were more likely to have an increased risk of perioperative stroke, death, MI, as well as access site complications, and a longer operative time and fluoroscopy time. Further studies could look at this in a more prospective nature, comparing a total transfemoral route to a mixed upper extremity route. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Dr. Bath.
Hey, Max. Great presentation. It's a really interesting topic. A couple of questions spring to mind. So I comment first. The increase in operative time, fluoroscopy, blood loss, etc., that suggests to me that the upper extremity patients were more complex in their cannulation. So not every patient is going to be easy to get into the SMA with a tight stenosis, etc., downward-facing renal from below. If those factors weren't different, I would say, well, maybe there's something to that. But it seems that the fact that these patients died more often meant that they probably more often had renal artery stenosis, SMA disease, etc. Did you guys think about that or sort of put that in there?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think that is one of the things that we found is potentially and overall just in practice, the patients who are having an upper extremity approach might be a little bit sicker, might have more complicated anatomy. And so in terms of the VQI, we try to adjust for that as much as possible. In terms of our just demographic and clinical risk factors, there wasn't enough of a difference to really justify a propensity score matching. So the variables that were different, which for us really was age, gender, race, size of aneurysm, number of fenestrations, we adjusted for. But I think that, overall, this isn't to say that a total transfemoral route is the way that every patient should go. It's more just this is maybe an option to consider if it's technically feasible in patients.
And just a really quick follow-up question, sorry. Did you look at right versus left? This is always a big debate. Carlos Timoran's group recently showed a large series that demonstrated didn't really make a lot of difference, as have other groups. Did you have a chance to look at right access versus left access?
For upper extremity, we did. We did a sub-analysis for that, and of the patients who had an upper extremity access site, 75% had a left upper extremity and 25% had right upper extremity. In terms of the outcome differences, we found that patients who had access from left upper extremity had a 50% reduction in MI compared to the right upper extremity, but there was no difference in perioperative death or stroke or access site complications.
Dr. Humphreys.
So I appreciate the comment that he just made about the complexity, because I really think that's the crux here. But also, when you're looking at this, in VQI, you can get it down to center. You can even sometimes get it down to provider. And those are variables that I think are also important here. You have to ask for that information, but were you able to look at it by center or by provider? And I think that would show also that there's a big difference in outcomes.
In our final model, we did adjust by center, but we didn't break down by provider or anything else. So that's definitely something that we can consider. I think that when we looked at this previously, as you're alluding to, there is a difference in terms of high volume centers and low volume and their abilities and just their success with these procedures. So we can do that.
So along the same lines as what Dr. Bath has mentioned, I don't know if you can stratify your results by planned versus unplanned upper extremity access, because we do run into situations where we start or plan for a transfemoral approach, but then because of the complexity or the situation at hand, the fenestration covers the target vessel, and you can't only access it by an integrator approach. You have to convert, and that makes the operation a lot longer and more complex, and resulting in these. Second question I have is, were you able to look at elective axillary conduit use versus percutaneous versus brachial, sort of the variations in the upper extremity access, and see if you could differentiate outcomes based on those?
Thank you. In terms of your first question, I guess we'll start with the second one. For the conduits, we didn't actually look at the difference in conduit. It was really just any upper extremity approach compared to not upper extremity. So that's something that we can do because the VQI has that. But then for your first question, that is unfortunately a limitation with VQIs. We don't actually know why a provider picked transfemoral or upper extremity, or if they tried one or the other first and then then had to move to upper extremity instead. So that is a limitation with VQI. When we looked at it at our single institution, we were able to get that information since it was just our institution, and we didn't have any cases of needing to convert. But I think that's something that would be nice to have to really know the decision-making process.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.